For over a century, the mighty Titanic, once the largest ship afloat, has been shrouded in mystery, lying silently on the ocean floor. The Titanic has rested in the deep Atlantic, a cold, dark realm where sunlight fails to penetrate. Its iron hull, once gleaming with pride, is now encrusted with the passage of time and the relentless embrace of the sea. It stands as a silent monument to tragedy and lost grandeur, a haunting reminder of the lives lost and the dreams that sank with her on that fateful night. The debris field surrounding the wreck tells a story of chaos and destruction, a testament to the immense forces unleashed during the ship's final moments. Since her discovery in 1985 by Robert Ballard and his team, a new chapter in the Titanic's story began. The world was captivated by the images beamed back from the ocean depths, offering a glimpse into the ship's final resting place. She's inspired a persistent dream, a yearning to reclaim a piece of history and perhaps in some way to rewrite the ending of this tragic tale. The allure of the Titanic continues to capture the imagination of people around the globe, a dream to raise her from the depths, to bring her back to the surface and allow the world to witness her majesty once more. The idea of salvaging the Titanic has been a recurring theme in documentaries, books, and even fantastical engineering proposals. And return her to the world above, a symbol of human ingenuity and a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. But is this dream achievable, or is it merely a romantic fantasy? But the reality of the deep ocean, the crushing weight of the water, the perpetual darkness, and the unforgiving environment presents challenges that are almost insurmountable. Immense pressure, capable of imploding even the most robust structures, freezing temperatures that can weaken materials and slow down operations, and the ship's fragile state, ravaged by corrosion and decay over decades, makes any attempt at salvage incredibly risky. The very act of trying to lift the Titanic could cause it to crumble and disintegrate. All of this makes this dream nearly impossible, a logistical and engineering nightmare that pushes the boundaries of what is currently achievable. The risks involved are enormous and the potential for failure is high. Join me, Abhijit, as we explore the wildest proposals to raise the Titanic, from filling it with ping-pong balls to encasing it in ice, examining the feasibility and the sheer audacity of these plans, and why most would end in disaster, highlighting the immense challenges and the potential for catastrophic consequences in attempting such a monumental task. We'll delve into the science, the engineering, and the sheer improbability of bringing the Titanic back to the surface. One of the most famous ideas? Fill the Titanic with millions of ping-pong balls to float her up. But at 12,500 feet, the pressure would instantly crush the balls into useless plastic confetti. The dream of a buoyant cloud lifting the ship is pure fantasy, obliterated by the brutal physics of the deep. Another wild plan: pump 180,000 tons of molten Vaseline into the hull, let it solidify and float the ship. The logistics are mind-boggling, and even if possible, Vaseline's buoyancy can't overcome the Titanic's massive weight. The result? A wreck entombed in jelly, forever stuck on the seabed. Some proposed freezing the Titanic in a giant block of ice using liquid nitrogen, then floating it up. But freezing that much water at depth would require impossible amounts of nitrogen, and the ice would melt or break apart before reaching the surface. A poetic idea, but it melts away under scrutiny. What about simply lifting the Titanic with cranes and cables from the surface? No crane on Earth can handle the weight and depth, and the fragile, corroded hull would shatter under the strain. The ship would disintegrate long before it ever saw daylight. It's like trying to lift a mansion made of wet cardboard. Another idea: attach giant balloons to the hull and fill them with gas to float the ship up. But the pressure would crush the balloons and any imbalance would tear the fragile wreck apart. A gentle, balloon-assisted ascent is a high-stakes gamble doomed to fail. Early inventors imagined using powerful electromagnets and submarines to haul the Titanic up. Growth begins with a single step. Subscribe to MonkWire and join the journey to deeper, richer content. Even today, generating such magnetic force at depth is unfeasible and the corroded hull would simply rip apart. The vision is as impractical now as it was a century ago. Some suggested using explosives to blast the Titanic free from the seabed. Not only is this ethically unthinkable at a gravesite, but the shockwaves would obliterate the fragile wreck. This method would not raise the Titanic, it would annihilate her. What if we sealed the hull and filled it with gas to float it up? Sealing every leak in a shattered, corroded wreck is nearly impossible, and the pressure would make the gas useless for lift. One miscalculation, and the hull would rupture catastrophically. Why not cut the Titanic into smaller pieces and lift them individually? Dismantling the ship at depth would take decades, destroy its historical integrity, and leave only a pile of parts. The Titanic's value lies in her as a whole, not as scattered fragments. When considering raising the Titanic, one of the first ideas that comes to mind is using lift bags. These inflatable devices have proven effective in raising smaller objects from the ocean depths. Lift bags have raised small pieces of the Titanic before, during various expeditions to the wreck site. But the sheer scale of the Titanic presents a challenge of a completely different magnitude. Scaling up this technique from recovering smaller artifacts to lifting the entire ship is a different story altogether. The principles might be the same, but the practical implications are vastly more complex. To even contemplate lifting the Titanic, thousands upon thousands of lift bags would be needed. Imagine the logistical nightmare of deploying and managing such a vast array of equipment at such a depth. Beyond the logistical hurdles, there's a significant structural concern. The Titanic's hull has been weakened by over a century of corrosion and the immense pressure at the bottom of the ocean. The uneven force exerted by thousands of lift bags, even if carefully calibrated, would likely tear the fragile hull apart. The metal is simply not as strong as it once was. Instead of a majestic ascent, a triumphant return of the Titanic to the surface, the reality would likely be far more grim. The ship, already weakened, would be ripped to shreds under the immense strain. The ocean floor would become even more littered with debris, a tragic testament to a well-intentioned but ultimately flawed plan. The very method that worked effectively for retrieving a small piece, a teacup, a section of railing, or a personal effect, would, in this instance, be catastrophically unsuitable and ultimately destroy the whole, iconic wreck. The dream of raising the Titanic using lift bags is, therefore, a dangerous illusion. The most extreme idea? Detonate a nuclear device to blast the Titanic to the surface. The result: environmental catastrophe, radioactive fallout, and the total vaporization of the wreck. This wouldn't raise the Titanic, it would erase her from existence. The dream of raising the Titanic, of bringing her back to the surface, has captured imaginations for over a century. It's a powerful vision, fueled by a desire to reclaim a piece of history and perhaps even understand the tragedy more fully. The allure of seeing the grand ship restored to its former glory is undeniable. But the reality is that every method, every ambitious plan to lift the Titanic, is ultimately defeated by the unyielding laws of physics. The immense pressure at that depth, the fragile state of the wreck, and the sheer scale of the operation present insurmountable challenges. Scale. The Titanic is not just a large ship, it's a colossal structure resting 2.5 miles beneath the surface. The logistics of raising something of that magnitude are staggering, requiring technology and resources that are simply beyond our current capabilities without causing further damage. And beyond the practical considerations, there's a profound sense of respect for the site itself. It's not just a shipwreck, it's a memorial, a place of remembrance for the over 1,500 souls who perished. The Titanic is a protected memorial, recognized internationally as a site of significant historical and cultural importance. Disturbing the wreck would be a disservice to those who lost their lives. A gravesite, a solemn underwater resting place. It deserves to be treated with the utmost reverence and care, not as a spectacle or a salvage opportunity, and a unique historical artifact, a time capsule preserving a moment in history. Its value lies not in its material worth, but in the stories it holds and the lessons it teaches us about human ambition, tragedy, and the power of the sea. The best way to honor her, to learn from her, is through non-invasive exploration and meticulous documentation. Using advanced technology, we can create detailed maps, capture stunning images, and study the wreck without causing further harm. By leaving her in peace, by allowing her to remain undisturbed in her watery grave, we preserve her dignity and her story for future generations. We ensure that the lessons of the Titanic continue to resonate, reminding us of the importance of humility, caution, and respect for the forces of nature. She belongs to the deep now, a silent sentinel guarding the secrets of the past. And that's where her legacy should remain, a poignant reminder of a bygone era, forever enshrined in the depths of the ocean.